Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Hare Krishna, everyone. We are discussing the verse 4.8.11. So, before we begin, just a little introduction. We have discussed so far about the beginning of 8th chapter is that we have discussed the causes of devastation like illusion, Maya, etc. And then now we are reading on to the descendants of Swambhu Manu. So Swambhu Manu had two sons. One son was Uttanapad and the other son is Priyavrat Maharaj. Priyavrat Maharaj's pastime we'll later study in the sixth canto, but right now we are discussing, trying to know more about the king Uttanpad, Swambhu Manu's son. So King Uttanpad had two wives. One was Suniti and Suruchi. And from both these wives, he had two sons. The son of Suniti was Dhruva, he was the older son, and the son of Suruchi was Uttama, the younger son. Now, out of these two wives, Suruchi somehow was very, very dear to the king. In the next, few shlokas and all, we will study a bit more in detail about the incident, the pastime of Dhruva and Suruchi and all that happened. And this particular episode, this particular pastime starts from when, it was a very innocent, every household kind of, householders, this is a very common scene, a very innocent common scene that happened, that Uttama is sitting on his father's lap. The king is seated on the throne very nicely. There is Suruchi, the dear wife, and her son Uttama is sitting on the lap of the king. Now, Dhruva is a 5-year-old child, also craving for his father's affection, father's love. And then what happens is he also tries to go and sit on his father's lap. But the king was reluctant. And he stopped, Dhruva from sitting there. And then what happened is what we're gonna, the response of Dhruva, what was Suruchi's response, Dhruva's response, and then Suniti, what she said is all what we are going to discuss today. So let's begin with our verse. 11, the shloka. Navat sanripater dishnayam bhavan arudhom arhati nagrihito maya yatvam kukshva api nipanatmaja. Can anybody read the translation, please?
Hare Krishna Mataji, pranams. Navatsa Nrupater Dishnam. Sorry, Mataji, translation or shloka?
Mataji, translation.
Okay, sorry. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Queen Suruchi told Dhruva Maharaj, "My dear child, you do not deserve to sit on the throne or on the lap of the king. Surely you are also the son of the king. But because you did not take your birth from my womb, you are not qualified to sit on your father's lap." Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Purport also, please, Mataji.
Yeah. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Queen Suruchi very proudly informed Dhruva Maharaja that to be the king's son was not the qualification for sitting on the lap or throne of the king. Rather, this privilege was dependent on one's having taken birth from her womb. In other words, she indirectly informed Dhruva Maharaj that although he happened to be born of the king, he was considered an illegitimate son because of his birth from the womb of the other king. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, this is what is happening here. What we are seeing here is a deliberate offense against a 5-year-old child. And where is this happening? Where is this happening? It's happening in the kingdom of Uttanapad, who is Swayambhu Manu's son. Who is Swayambhu Manu? Swayambhu Manu is the role model for human society, right? He is the one from whom all the descendants have come. So from Brahma came Swayambhu Manu and Satrupa, and then whole progeny, every creation is beginning. So he's supposed to be the first person in creation. Such an exalted position, such a civilized society. And in that, at such a high level, of such a high level of supposed to be a knowledgeable society, supposed to be a cultured kingdom, this injustice is happening against a 5-year-old boy. What does this tell us? This tells us that the nature of the material world is such that no matter where we are, we may be, right, in the very, very high kingdom, or we may be in places like, small kingdoms or anything. This material world is a place where injustice is always going to happen. Be it, very high position, very high post or low post or this or that. The injustice is happening in the king's own home, king's own courtyard, king's own court. It's not courtyard, the king's own court. He's sitting there. And it's not just a private room. This is happening in their assembly, and there are people present, servants and kings, all representatives, everybody is present. And it is happening in front of everyone. Because of no apparent reason, the king is favoring one wife over other. Not that Sunidhi was not beautiful. We will read in coming verses. She was beautiful, lotus-faced. And Suruchi is, of course, beautiful. Not that there was anything wrong with her. But still, one wife is dear and one wife is not. One son is dear and one son is not. So much injustice. And that should tell us, no matter where we are in this material world, this is a place where all this is destined to happen. It should not come up as a surprise, as a shock, or as some kind of, strange thing. These things are meant to happen in material world. So if these things can happen at that time, when it was Satyuga, at that time when everything was so-called polished civilization, we are now living in Kali Yuga, age of quarrel and hypocrisy. How much more of all these things are we supposed to expect and anticipate, and how much more are we supposed to be prepared for this material world, and how much more as devotees we should be ready to face this kind of injustice. So this is one learning from this particular incident, that it is the nature of material world. Now let's understand why this is happening. There are few reasons for all these things. There are quite some reasons that we need to understand. The very first thing why this thing is happening is because of envy. Simple reason as that. What is she saying? You do not deserve to sit on the throne or lap of the king. There are two things here. There is lap and throne. Dhruv Maharaj, he is the older son. He is the son of a very, very qualified mother. Sunidhi means somebody who has very good qualities. And Suruchi is somebody who is increasing your desires. Like, she's so attractive that you are feeling more and more attracted to her. But here, Dhruv Maharaj is the older son and son of somebody who's got good qualities. So naturally, the throne will go to, Dhruv Maharaj. That is older son, and that is the way things are happening. So thinking all these things, Suruchi is already telling that you can't sit in your father's lap, forget about the throne. In the future, she's already envious. She's already thinking that this 5-year-old right now wants to sit on father's lap, then he wants to sit on the throne. So she's purely envious of the good qualities, of the good, all these good upbringing of Sunidhi. And, all there is always some kind of clashes between co-wives. So she is very, very envious. That is one reason. And another, she is proud that I am the favorite one. You are not my child. You have not taken birth from my womb. That means you are not qualified. Just becoming the son of your father is not a qualification. How much injustice, just so deep this is. She is thinking that, okay, you're your father's son, okay, but you're not my son. So you cannot sit on your father's lap. So this is what she is thinking. All right. And this is what, this is something that we have to learn here. One very, very important principle here. There is a principle of Ishavasham principle, Ishopnishad. Anybody remembers Ishopnishad? Ishavasham
वाक्यमिदं सर्वं यत्किञ्च जगतः जगत् तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीता मागृत् कस्य सिद्धनं.
Very good. Jai. Thank you, Mataji. So Ishavasham principle tells us that whatever is our quota, you should be satisfied with that. That is one aspect. And the second aspect is we should not encroach upon others' quota. Right? That's what Ishavasham principle is, right? So with that principle, it does not just apply to possessions, properties, or anything. It also applies to one's rights. It also applies to certain freedom that a person has. So here what is happening? Here what is happening is Suruchi, she's just saying, what is she saying? That Dhruva, it is his right. Dhruva as a child, it is his right to sit on father's lap. But she's saying, you cannot do that. You cannot. She's encroaching upon his right. She's saying you can't do this. So this is also a violation of a very, 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 very important principle, that, you can't sit on your father's lap. This is like stopping someone from his rightful, this is his right. Who can stop a child and father's, relationship, right? But she is stopping this. She's coming in, she's stepping her bounds, if you like, and saying you can't do this, right? So this is violation of that principle, Ishavasham principle. So one reason we discussed about, why this is happening is excuse me, because of the envy and pride of Sunidhi. And then let's discuss something else. Let's discuss about now the role of the king, King Uttanpad. King is supposed to be, like he considers everybody, all his citizens, to be on equal level. Praja means children and king means father, right? Now, if a king is not allowing, if the king is not just to his own son, how can we expect him to be just to the others? Is it not? Right? If you're doing injustice to your own son, how can you be true and just to others in your kingdom, your praja, your own subjects? You cannot expect. If you're here, Uttanpad is failing as a king, he's failing as a father, he's failing as a husband. What is he supposed to do? As a king, he's supposed to make sure that there are no injustice happening in his kingdom, right? We all know the examples of Lord Ram, right? In his kingdom, there was no injustice. Anybody could directly approach and say, yes, you are doing this, this is happening to me, and immediately Lord Ram would protect, right? But here, his own wife, his own son, subjected to injustice, he's still quiet. He is failing as a husband. He is just, so much voluntarily under control of his loving wife that he is just, favoring one over another. And he's, of course, failing as a father. He's not, all this injustice is happening. The son just wants to sit on father's lap. But he stopped from doing that. And he did not say anything to this. Such a big injustice. So much wrong is happening. But he's failing just because of his attachment to his younger wife, Suruchi, right? So we have seen that, example comes in mind is Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj, as soon as he saw that there is this bull, he's trying to, enter. The bull is the Kali, and he's trying to enter his kingdom. Immediately, just try to kill him, right? That is what it is. That Parikshit Maharaj immediately tried to protect the bull and did not allow Kali to enter the kingdom. Immediate, no injustice. But here, the king is so much, he has the authority. Ideally, a king has so much authority that he can tell people, this is right, this is not right, this is wrong, this is right. But here his wife is misbehaving, but he is weak and he has no ability to stop injustice, right? So what do we learn from this example? What is the learning for us here? There are so many learnings, but one prominent one that comes to mind is we should not become too attached to something or someone. The moment we become attached, the moment we have some strong asakti for something, what happens is we become weak. When we become weak, when we become too much attached, then that makes us more weak. And that person for whom we have attachment, they may take advantage of us, our love, our feelings, our leniency. And that liberty, they can use it against us or to exploit us. And this is what happened in case of Uttanpad. He was so attached to his wife, he was so much attached that he did not say anything. She took the advantage. She knew she's the favorite one. The king will not say anything, right? The king will not tell me anything. And she took the liberty and she tried to, say all these mean things to Dhruva. And the king did not stop because he thought, if I say something, my wife will not feel good. My wife, my dear wife, she will feel bad. So he tolerated this injustice. He tolerated this. And that is why he let it happen. And this is what happens with us in the material world. This is what happens. If we are too attached to someone, we become obliged to them. We give favors to them, right? We want to do things for them. But in return, when the time comes, they expect us to do things blindly for them. They expect us to do things that will actually may not be right. And that is something they'll take us away from our Krishna consciousness. Some things are like that. What happens? What happened, in case of Krishna, in case of, what's his name? King Dashrath. Out of so much love for his wife Kaikai, he gave 2 boons. And what did Kaikai do? Sure enough, out of her whatever reasons, envy, jealousy, whatever, she just used those 2 boons to get, what that Ram goes to the forest for 14 years and kingdom goes to Bharat Maharaj. King Bharat, not king, what is it? The Prince Bharat, right? She used it. And Dashrath Maharaj, out of affection and obligation, he just had to do it. There was no way he could stop or say no. And because of this strong obligation, what happened to him? He lost, he was separated from Lord Ramchandra, who was his life. And sure enough, as soon as Lord Ramchandra left, he left his body. So we have to be very, very, very understanding. We have to know exactly where we are putting our attachments, where we are putting our obligations, where we are investing our energies in. Because though our intentions are pure, though our heart is pure, we don't know what is happening in case of, what is happening in the minds of other people. There are so many times people, we have compassion, we have truthfulness, we have all these good Vaishnava qualities, but people use against us. Some people, we are very compassionate. Person comes, give me something. We give them 10 rupees. And what they do, immediately go and drink alcohol. This happened with me, actually. This is long time back. I'm talking maybe 20 years from now, that I was walking on the streets and I was seeing this very, very poor man. And, he had some rags and he was just looking into it. And he was very, very pitiable condition he was in. And I felt very bad. And this was just the beginning of my Krishna consciousness. So I felt bad for him. And I just passed. Somehow Krishna gave me good intelligence. I just passed away from that scene. And then while returning back, when I was coming back, that same person was still there. And then he had taken out a bottle and he was drinking something. Of course, it was alcohol. It was not water. I could see that it was not water. It was alcohol. And Krishna showed that to me, that yes, you have compassion, but compassion must be used in right direction. Otherwise, you will get karma. With your money, he would have drank alcohol. So you will get karma and he will also get karma. So the point here that we are trying to make is we should be very much mindful where we are putting our emotions, where we are becoming attached to. We should not become so much attached that we give in to them or we give in to their desires and lose what is truly important to us, what is truly the ultimate goal of our life, and which is Krishna consciousness. So that is what is happening in case of Uttanapad, that he is actually forgetting his responsibility as a father, as a husband, as a king. All these things is forgetting just because he's too attached to his one wife and not attached to his other wife, right? And what other thing we are trying to understand here is, okay, just bear with me a moment. So these are quite few learnings that we learn from this verse about, how we can also apply this to our life, that not to become too attached, And then there is example of this one. We saw about Ishavasham principle, that we should not encroach upon the rights of the others too. And if we are in some responsible position, like like a king, then we should not let injustice happen. We should speak something, because you are a leader, right? Uttanpad is a leader. People look up to him. And what he does, common men follow. What is our Bhagavad Gita verse? Yad yad achratri sheshthas tatta devetarojana sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Right? Whatever he does, great people, whatever great men do, common people will follow. So he did not say anything, right? Uttanpad did not say anything. All this is going on. So nobody in his kingdom, even though everything was going on publicly, nobody said anything in the kingdom also, right? There were ministers, there were servants, maid servants. If the king and the queen is not saying anything, who are we to say anything? They also did not say anything. So he failed in so many, Uttanpad failed in so many aspects. As a leader is somebody who is very, very responsible. And whatever he will do, people will follow, right? So here, he did not do his true role as a leader also, right? So that is his failing on that aspect also, right? Let us go to the next verse, 4.8.12. Can anybody please read the verse and the translation as well?
Hare Krishna, Vasudha Mataji, you read the verse, and Vrishabhanu Mataji the translation, and Kripamai Mataji the purport. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण धन्यवाद प्रणाम माताजी बालो असि बतानात्मानम् अन्य स्त्री गर्भ संवृतं नूनं वेद भवान् यस्य दुर्लभे अर्थे मनोरथः हरे कृष्ण थैंक यू
Hare Krishna, Bhagavad Pranam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. My dear child, you are unaware that you were born not of my womb, but of another woman. Therefore, you should know that your attempt is doomed to failure. You are trying to fulfill a desire which is impossible to fulfill. Hare Krishna.
Purport, please.
Am I audible, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji.
Purport, Hare Krishna. Purport by Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
The small child, Dhruva Maharaja, was naturally affectionate towards his father, and he did not know that there was a distinction between his two mothers. This distinction was pointed out by Queen Suruchi, who informed him that since he was a child, he did not understand the distinction between the two queens. This is another statement of Queen Suruchi's pride. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. So what is she saying here? Why you can't sit? You are a child. Suruchi is saying you are a child. For you, mother is mother. Suruchi, Sunidhi, both are mothers, right? You are a child. This is how innocent the child is. 5-year-old, how will he understand? Oh, she is my father's favorite. She's not my father's favorite. And she's thinking of the kingdom. 5-year-old will not even think like that. 5-year-old will just say, my father, his lap, and I go and sit. So she's correcting him here. Suruchi is correcting Dhruva and saying, no, it's not that simple. You are a child. For you, everything is same, but it's not. She's actually saying, I am your stepmother. He is your stepbrother. He is the king and I am king's favorite. Like Prabhupada is saying here, this is another, she is adult. Suruchi is adult. And she is out of her adult arrogance. She's saying it's not the same. Things are not as simple as you think, right? It's not like, oh, they are same. I am the favorite one. Your mother is not the favorite one. And hence, you are also suffering the consequence. Let's read the next verse.
Hare Krishna, Barnali Mataji, you can read the sing shloka. Then Shang, who's that Shang? Someone can read the translation, and Krishnamurti Prabhu the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam Mataji, thank you Mataji. Tapasaradhya Purusham tasaiva anugrahina garbhe Tvam saddaya atmanam yadichasi nipasanam. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. If you at all desire to rise to the throne of the king, then you have to undergo severe austerities. First of all, you must satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, and then when you are favored by him, because of such worship, you shall have to take your next birth from my womb. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranams Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Purport by Shri Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Suruchi was so envious of Dhruva Maharaja that she indirectly asked him to change his body. According to her, first of all he had to die. Then he take his birth. Then he take his next body in her home, and only then would it be possible for Dhruva Maharaja to ascend the throne of his father. Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranams Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. See, another example of the pride and arrogance of Sunidhi. She's saying, okay, how? She first said, you can't sit in your father's lap. What is the solution now? So she's giving a solution. What is the solution? Solution is, if you want to sit on king's throne or king's lap for that matter, you have to do so much tapasya, right? First you satisfy the Supreme Lord. And then when he favors you, then you can take a womb, then you can take a birth in my womb in the next birth, and then you can do this. So proud. Now, just understand from one perspective, if we really worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will somebody ask for a boon to be born in such an arrogant woman's womb? No. If you are actually praying to Lord Narayan, you'll go back to him, back to Godhead, right? Isn't it? Why will you even think? But here, so much pride, so much arrogance. She is thinking that to be born as my child, you have to first worship Lord Vishnu. So much pride that, I am such a great person that you can become my child only after worship of Lord Vishnu. And this is what she's saying. And also, by saying all this, she's trying to impress Uttanpad. She's just, saying, oh, I'm such a great Vaishnavi. I'm such a big devotee of Lord Vishnu. See, I'm telling your son, I'm advising him about Vishnu worship, right? So this is what she's thinking when she's advising like this. So much pride, so much arrogance. But, we all know that, if you really want to, if you really worship Lord Narayan, what happens? And that happened in case of Dhruv Maharaj. Actually, we can, as the pastime unfolds, we will see that he went for material desire, but he worshipped Supreme Lord so nicely that, he became a pure devotee. Let's read the next verse.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shobha Mataji, you can read the sloka, and Prashanti Mataji the translation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam Mataji, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Maitreya uvacha matuho sapatnyaha cha durukti vittaha shvasan rucha dhantahato yatahati hitva misantam pitaram sannavacham jhakama matuhu praruttan sakasham. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Translation by Prabhupada ki jai. The sage Maitreya continued. My dear Vidura, as a snake when struck by a stick breathes very heavily, Dhruva Maharaj, having been struck by the strong words of his stepmother, began to breathe very heavily because of great anger. When he saw that his father was silent and did not protest, he immediately left the palace and went to his mother. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
So what is happening here? Dhruv Maharaj is after all a Kshatriya. That Kshatriya blood boils, right? So he's a 5-year-old, but he could understand that, that injustice has happened to him. So he is first angry because of what his strong words spoke by his stepmother. This is the first reason why he is angry, right? And the second reason, the thing that hurt Dhruv Maharaj the most was the response of his father. Right? So all this is happening in front of his father. The father should at least say something now. Okay, she is my stepmother, but you are my father. You should have said something. You did not say anything. You did not protest. You did not do anything, right? So the father's silence was something that actually hurt him the most. He could accept, he could tolerate whatever his stepmother did, but that father's response, after all, my mother may be different, but father, you are my father, right? That he could not digest, and he was stuck with grief, and he left the palace. Now, a thing to remember here, just a background of the scene that we are in, that this is happening, right, in a kingdom, in a king's place, right? All these people are around. So after this happened, the news of what has happened reached Sunidhi before even Dhruv Maharaj left, and because all the servants there, they had already told what has happened. So let's read the next verse and let's see what's happening.
Hare Krishna. Archana Mataji, you can read the shloka and I'll read the translation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Omnishwasandam Suridadharoshtam Sudevirskandha Balam Nishamya Tattvauramadhanidandam Savivyadeyat Pradidam Savatya.
Hare Krishna. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki Jai. When Dhruv Maharaj reached his mother, his lips were trembling in anger, and he was crying very grievously. Queen Suniti immediately lifted the son onto her lap, while the palace residents, who had heard all the harsh words of Suruchi, related everything in detail. Thus, Suniti also became greatly aggrieved. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So this is what's happened. So Dhruv Maharaj insulted, angry, grief-stricken, left his father's room or whatever, wherever they were, and now reached his mother. And when he reached his mother, he was angry, he was crying, right? And as affectionate mother, she lifted her son. She already knew what has happened, so she lifted her child, put on her lap. Again, here, see, she put him on the lap. She wanted to show that, yes, your father's lap is not available, but my lap is always available for you. So she put him on the lap. You may sit here. And then, after hearing what has all happened, Suniti also became very much aggrieved. Let's read the next verse.
Hare Krishna. Devotees, please raise your hand. Shilpa Mataji, you can read the shloka Mataji and translation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Pranam Mataji. Sotsrujya dhairyam vilalapa shoka davagnina davalateva bala vakyam sapatnyaha smarati saroja shriya drisha bashpakala kalam uvaha. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Divya Mataji, you can read the translation and purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, translation by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. This incident was unbearable to Suniti's patience, so she began to burn as if in a forest fire, and in her grief, she became just like a burnt leaf and so lamented. As she remembered the words of her co-wife, her bright lotus-like face filled with tears, and thus she spoke. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. When a man is aggrieved, he feels exactly like a burnt leaf in a forest fire. Suniti's position was like that. Although her face was as beautiful as lotus flower, it dried up because of the burning fire caused by the harsh words of her co-wife. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So what is happening here with all this, all that is happening, Suniti, she's not able to tolerate. Very important here. Unable to tolerate. Unable and then patience. So she lost her patience and she could not tolerate. But what she did, And because of all that not tolerating, she was, like a tender creeper in forest fire. She felt like, like a burnt leaf and lamented, right? So this is what it happened to her. But very interesting to note here, even though this was something really bad, something very something that can provoke very bad response, like for example, Suniti could have immediately gone and stormed to Uttanpad and just said, how can you tolerate injustice to your own son? And she could have even, she's the older wife, she's the older co-wife, she could have slapped Suruchi and said, why, how can you do this to my son? She did not do that. Even though she had lost her composure, she was not able to tolerate. What was her response? Only tears were coming out of her eyes. Her response was very mild, because by like her name, she's Sunidhi, somebody who has good qualities. She did not worry about her. She was more focused on her son. She forgot. She's like, okay, I am going through so much pain and grief, but I have to take care of my own son. Her response was not wild, mild, and if you make it ulta, it becomes wild, right? Mild and wild, right? So similarly, this is teaching us, no matter how provoking the situation, we and our response should always be mild. Does not mean we tolerate anything, tolerate the injustice, but the response has to be mild and not wild. How, some people start throwing things and, starting blaspheming and, oh, this happened. Now, start speaking harshly and just, tit for tat, like, but she did not do that. Even though all this is happening, she had the right presence of mind. She calmed her son. That was her first response. She knew what Dhruva was going through, and she responded accordingly. So that is a learning for us. No matter what the provoking situation, no matter how much stormy the weather gets, we have to always keep our calm. Right? Let's take the next verse, the last verse for today.
Hare Krishna, Vasudha Mataji, you can read the shloka, Prashanti Mataji, the translation, and Varnali Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam. Drigam swasanti vrijinasya param apasyati balakam ahabala mamangalam tata pareshu mamsta dumte jano yet paradukkadastat. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanavad Pranam. Translation by Prabhat ki jai. She also was breathing very heavily and she did not know the factual remedy for the painful situation. Not finding any remedy, she had said to her son, my dear son, don't wish for anything inauspicious for others. Anyone who inflicts pains upon others suffers himself from that pain. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Dhanavad Pranam.
Very, very interesting verse here. She was, again, it is still showing that she was also angry, but she actually did not know what she can do. Like we already discussed, she can't go and complain to the king. She knows that Suruchi is the favorite one. No matter what she does, there's going to be whatever she says is not going to be entertained. So there was no point in doing that, right? She did not know what to do. But interestingly, her first response was not blame game, right? Normally, when we are in this situation, we start thinking, who to blame? No blame game. Oh, it's like your father is like this and your stepmother is like this. Not blaming anyone. Rather, she started advising her son. Here in this verse, she's advising two things. The first thing she is saying is, do not wish for anything bad for others. Yes, you have gone, what you received, what you are going through is bad, but don't wish bad for anyone. This is the first thing. And the second thing she is saying is, anyone who inflicts pain upon others suffer from that path. This is very interesting. Now, when I read this first time, immediately my mind is telling me, because we have read this past time in advance, so we know that in the future, what Sunidhi is saying is, in the future, Suruchi and her son and the king will also suffer. Right? This is what we read and we understand, right? But actually, Sunidhi is not meaning that. Sunidhi, what she is saying is, because you did something in the past, you are suffering the actions of your own pain. This is when I read this, I was immediately like, oh my God, this is so deep. And this tells us a very, very deep learning about Vaishnavas. That as Vaishnavas, whenever we are learning all these things, we have to always, see what we can learn from this. Not start blaming, oh, Uttanpad is such a bad king. Oh, Sunidhi, such a bad, Surichi, such a bad mother. Indra, we always read about Indra in all these pastimes. He is such a useless person. Oh, Indra, he got, he tried to do this. Such a useless character. Oh, Brahma, he got attracted to his own daughter. Oh, Shiva, he ran after Mohini Murti. We should not take all these things as us. Rather, we should always, as Vaishnavas, our tendencies have to always be what we can learn from this, how this is applicable to me. Rather than pointing fingers at others, we should always think about this, that how this is applicable to me, how this is something I can take in my life. And this is the example of classic humility. This is example of seeing that how I am getting the reactions of my own karma from past life. This is a Vaishnava vision, right? Not that, oh, you did bad for me, you will get bad in the future. No, this you are suffering because you already did something. You are receiving your own reactions, your own karmas. And this is a very most important learning from whole episode and whole pastime, that no matter what happens, no matter how provoking the situation, if we join our hand, close our eyes and pray to Krishna, please tell me what you want to really learn, what you want me to learn from this situation. Krishna will reciprocate. That will bring humility upon us. That will attract the Lord's mercy, because you are, rather than, you are trying to tolerate the whole situation, and you are trying to, this is how you get the Lord's mercy. Right? So this is a wonderful learning, and we can stop here and we can take some questions.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna,
yeah, Shilpa Mataji. Question.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. From Hare Krishna. Can you hear me, Mataji?
Yes, I can. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Such a simple text. I was wondering what is Mataji going to talk today, but as soon as I saw you, I knew something good is going to come out, Sorry for my camera was off. Sorry, Mataji.
No problem.
So, so in a simple text like this, where it was only a story, you brought out such nice learnings that it really struck the right chord, at least within me. Thank you so much. Mataji, my question is that when you say Isho Vacho, is that you should not, you should use what God has given for your own quota. Now here, Dhruv Maharaj, we can see it is injustice. So we know that it is injustice, but sometimes in our life, no Mataji, it is very blurred line whether we can't make out. We feel it is injustice, but sometimes it may not be injustice. So how do we make out whether this is whatever is happening to us is injustice or not?
It depends on situation to situation, Mataji. In the sense, let's understand from the battlefield of Kurukshetra, right? Arjuna, what did he say? I don't want to fight. I'm happy to go to the forest and, just live my life by begging. Krishna said, no, this is injustice. You have to fight. Sure enough, he fought and he got it. There, it was obvious. So many injustice, that's obvious. Okay, there are 6, Prabhupada says in the first chapter, there are 6 kind of aggressors.
Yeah.
And if something like that, then of course you do have to fight. If it is something that is against you're meant to receive, and you are don't speak like job or something. You're meant to, some people are taking your credit and you meant to speak, you have to speak. You can't let people just, come and just trample on you or walk over you like a doormat, right? But there are certain things that no matter what, you have to tolerate. In this situation we saw, right? Now something happens amongst devotees or something happens among family members, right? You don't like it, but you just tolerate, right? Sometimes something happens with children, they say something mean to you. What can you do? You can't go and complain to anyone. You can tell them, but after certain point it just comes that you just have to tolerate it. And that's what it means here. When there is serious abuse, we have to speak out. Somebody is actually, trying to violate your rights, you have to speak out. But there are times when, like here in Dhruv Maharaj's case, there was nothing they could just tolerate. That's all. He knew that there is no way, even if we speak, we are not. If Uttanpad had to speak, he would have spoken right then and there. Even so, Sunidhi involving would have not done any difference, right? So what I've heard about this is always been a very, like, how this depends on situation to situation. But from what I've always learned, when you feel actually that some injustice is happening, show your hood but don't bite. There's a nice pastime to it. There was a snake in a village, and the snake all the time shows his hood and bites people and all, and people used to throw stones at him and everything. And then Narad Muni, passing by, he just preached to the snake. He became a devotee. All right, good. So now he became devotee. So now he's not biting anyone anymore, right? So all the villagers, they harass, throw stones, stakes, beat and everything. He's troubled, like, I'm not doing anything. Why is everybody troubling me now? So he spoke to Narad Muni, said, Narad Muni, this is happening. What can I do? So Narad Muni said, show your hood, but don't bite. Which means you're protecting yourself. You're showing your hood that, hey, if you attack me, I can do this. But you're not biting. So sometimes we have to take that kind of response also. We can't let people just take advantage of us. So just because we are devotees, they can come and say whatever they want. They can, sometimes even to set an example. If there are Bhakti Vriksha members or something, if you just become tolerant and say, oh, I must tolerate this, then they will never learn. They have done something against you, then in future they will do the same thing to temple president or somebody big when they come. So it is something that we have to always understand, that we respond according to the situation. Sometimes we can't, sometimes we just, but grave injustice happening, we should never tolerate it. We should definitely speak out.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Two biggest draw for me was like whenever anything what doesn't go in your favor, one is you should ask Krishna as to what lesson do I have to learn from this. That
Yes.
was the biggest learning. Very good, Mataji. That one was. And other thing is you don't have to blame others. You have to see what is in for me to learn from this. Thank you so
Yes.
much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Shobha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Hare
With pranams Mataji. Thank you Mataji for the wonderful session. And also Mataji, I think my question has been answered. Still, I was like confused with the how can we relate this Dhruv Maharaj story to the third Shishtashtakam verse like Trinadapi Suni Chena. There I was relating, but somewhat hint, yeah, I got in your answer Mataji. You answered to Shilpa Mataji.
There's also another thing that we can apply. If it is something against you, if it is something to your personal thing, we must tolerate. But if it is something against Vaishnavas, against Guru, against Prabhupada, against our philosophy, that we should not tolerate. That is another thing we can, we can take it. Some personal insult to me, okay, I can tolerate that. I should tolerate that. But somebody's coming and hurting me, I have to protect myself. That injustice we can't take it. But usually when it is all these verbal things and all, okay, what does Krishna want to learn from me? But if somebody says against some Vaishnavas, we have to become like, Arjuna and fight. We can't tolerate anything there.
Yeah, Mataji, and if the same, sometimes we see also that something wrong is happening to people. Maybe they are not devotees, but yeah, related to us, or maybe not even related to us, but something is happening wrong. So should we like stop and think like I should intervene, or like we should just think that okay, maybe the past karma of this person, so let
If
it
you
be. How can
if you say something, you have to say something. You can say, at least the person is not realizing. Maybe you can say, hey, I'm an outsider, but I see this happening. Can you see what? Can you just do some? You can talk to somebody. You can, those person who are relevant, you can tell them that this is what I see, this is what I feel is happening. I may be wrong, but what do you think? Not that, oh, you are wrong and this is wrong. No, just express yourself. I'm thinking like this. If you put your opinion like that, they may say, because sometimes from external viewpoint it may seem wrong, but it's actually the right. So if you put it in form of a doubt, if you put it in form of concerns, other people may hear and they may say, yes, what you're saying, I thank you for bringing it to my notice, and they may do the needful.
okay? Thank you, Mataji, for guidance.
Right.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. May I ask, Mataji? Narani Mataji?
Yeah, please, Suma Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Mataji, I'm very
Hare
sorry for advance. In advance, I'm asking Mataji because I'm not good at framing questions. I'm very sorry.
No
May Krishna
problem.
help me. Hare Krishna. Mataji, I just wanted to know that in today's class, I learned that when we are bringing up our children, we are facing a lot of challenges, Mataji. We have a strong conviction that Krishna Bhakti is the ultimate, Mataji, but they are not in that state. So I just wanted to help my kids, as that is the only responsibility we have. But in this today's generation, it is very difficult, Mataji. What they like is like different things, like the dressings. It may be dressing, the food, and everything. What they choose is far beyond Krishna consciousness, Mataji. I mean, totally against the this bhakti movement, Mataji. So it is very challenging for us, Mataji, as parents, because
Yes.
we have to address those needs also. So how can we draw a line, Mataji, like where it becomes? I mean, we're not supposed to do this because they are not even every day they chant, Mataji. Some days they are not in any mood, like even to chant one round.
How old are they?
She's 10 years old, Mataji.
Okay.
And the elder one is 18 years old, Mataji.
Okay.
So it is becoming very challenging. So how can we, whenever we say that everything is karma, so, oh, Mama, you stop. So they say that, Mataji. So I'm finding it very difficult, Mataji. So I just thought that I'll get a good answer from you, Mataji. And Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji.
No problem. No problem.
Class was so good.
I'll try, Mataji. See, knowing the philosophy is one thing, and the way to present it is another. From our knowledge that we have from these classes and reading Bhagavad Gita and everything, we know that whatever we are getting is our karma. But this you can tell only to someone who understands this. In the sense, somebody has just left the body, and we can go there and we can't start saying that, oh, it's his karma, he just left, he's now gone to another body. The first way to talk to them is, oh, it's very sad indeed, I understand your grief, this, that. And then we start speaking about body and soul. We never speak about karma in that situation until they are ready to hear. Same with children, with their lifestyle choices, with their clothing, with their eating. What we can do is, we can't just immediately say, oh, if you wear these kind of clothes, you'll get I'm just giving example, Mate, that, oh, you'll get a tree body in next life. See what happened to Nalkuvar and Manigriva. We can't talk to them like that, because they don't have the whole philosophy to understand this. For first, they do not even understand that what is last life and this life, and I'm gonna suffer or enjoy. For them, that concept is not there. Especially 18-year-old, what concept they have? They have only, for them, only right thing to do is what their friends are doing, what the influencers, the trends are. That's the right thing for them, right? Sometimes they chant, so you are still got some hope, you still got some room. All I can suggest is, you can do best from your side. In the sense, give them Krishna Prasad. Let's say they want to eat something outside. You try and make those same things at home. These days we have so many videos and all. You can just Google or YouTube and just, see what the response is, right? Try and do those kind of things. At least you're trying to do your part right. If it goes to a point where it starts becoming a conflict, then maybe you should just try giving it in a very passive form, right? Like prasadam, some things that you are talking on phone to a friend and they hear, that's another way. If you tell them directly, they may not listen, but this indirectly, if you tell them, this is how. If you're reading Bhagavatam, read it out loud. If you're reading Bhagavad Gita, read it out loud. So these are some ways you can do it, but give them lot of love, give them lot of philosophy. They will accept only after they have some faith in, after they have some care from you. I know you love and care them, but they need to see something. They need to see that you are doing something for them. Then they will be more open to hear philosophy from you.
Hare Krishna. Very helpful, Mataji. Thank you so much, Mataji. One thing I understood, Mataji, that I am a very poor, very bad preacher, Mataji. So I have kept quiet.
No. Mata, it's nothing like that. See, if you tell something straightforward, some people will click and some people will accept it. But if we have tried doing that, it's not working, then we try something else. Not that anybody is a bad preacher. 3-year-old Saraswati, Shyam Sundar Prabhu and Malti Mataji's daughter, she used to go and tell everybody, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada said, this is the best preaching. So nothing wrong with that. You are wishing the best for them. When you are talking to people strongly, you're wishing the best for them only. You're not wishing bad for them. And you are trying to give exactly what you heard. So you're not a bad preacher. But from this, you learn how to talk and then you present. So it's not about being a bad preacher. You are actually giving the best. But sometimes we have to become a little diplomatic. If it is not, they say, ungli, he seedhi ungli se nahi nikalta, you become teda, like that. That's all it is.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
No problem. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Mataji, in a small question of my end, in
Yes,
purport 17, Mataji.
Yes.
Don't wish for anything inauspicious for others.
Yes.
Especially this will happen in our regular day-to-day life, is it, Mataji?
Yes.
So thing is, so of course anything happens, we will try our best to. We are not supposed to wish for inauspicious for others. So
Yes.
we just stop us. So it can be done in Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
But anyone who inflicts pains upon others suffers himself from that pain. So means if they do anything wrong to us, so that wrong thing will affect to them in due course. Am I right, Mataji?
So this point we have to understand from a deeper perspective. If we read English, what you said is right.
Okay.
But devotees like Sunidhi will not wish bad for others.
Okay.
What she is saying with this one is, we are suffering because right now she is suffering and Dhruv Maharaj is suffering. So she is saying that we are suffering because we did something to them in the past and now we are suffering that reaction.
Okay. So anyhow, in our personal life also, we have to take in that manner only.
Yes.
We have done something wrong to somebody else. This person or that person, anything else.
Yes.
So that part this work came into effect that causes us suffer.
Yes.
So we have to think like that.
Yes.
If it as per this, if it goes there, this is a negative message. We thought will come like that, Mataji. That's why I've got clarification from this for this particular.
Because that's exactly how I thought as well. But when I did deep study, when I did research, the acharyas say the other way.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. So thing is, how to interpret this matter, that is that must be recorded in our mind and in our actions.
We start with small things.
Mataji.
We start with small things.
Yes.
Small things like, let's say something happened, like, oh, somebody cheated me. So the sabzi wala, he took 5 rupees more from me. My own karma I'm getting. We start with small things.
Okay.
Like that. And then we slowly, when big things happen, like let's say something bad, really bad happens, some accident or something happens. We prayed, Lord, that it could have been worse, but because, I'm getting my own karma, you reduced it so much. So like that. We start with small things. Every time, something small happens, something good happens, it's Krishna's mercy. Something bad happens, oh, Krishna made me learn something from this. It's on my own karma that I'm getting.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, last
There's a
question
question
we'll
in the
take.
chat box.
Shanti Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
My question is also similar to Suma Mataji. So my son eats non-veg Mataji. So though I'm telling him not to eat, and sometimes its causes and how they are killed, he's not understanding Mataji. How to make him understand and leave non-veg Mataji? He's 20.
How old?
He's 20 years old Mataji.
Mataji, prasadam, like one we discussed. And the other thing that you can do is, if he's ready to listen, there are some videos. Prabhupada said that if the slaughterhouses have glass walls, then probably people would stop eating. So if he sees some documentaries, there was one documentary. By profession, I'm a dentist, right? So blood and all is not new for me. But when I saw that, I could not see past 5 minutes. There's so much brutality there. So if some documentary like that, if we can see, and then you can show how big people are also vegetarian. Virat Kohli, one I know, like they have some idols, right? They follow, like that kind of people. If they are vegetarian, then he might just take it up.
Yes, Mataji. Regarding Prashadam, he doesn't stay at home, Mataji. He lives in hostel. So as soon as I came here, within months he had to go to for a hostel. So Prashadam is not an option for me, Mataji. So I couldn't do anything for that. At least when he's going to hostel, I give him dry fruits, which I keep as Prashadam, and that's it. That's the only thing I'm able to do.
Yeah.
Other than that, nothing is in my hands, it seems, Mataji. So any other thing, if you can.
There is one more thing. There is one book Kurma Prabhu has written. There's a small book. I forgot the name. Just give me one moment. I can search it.
Sure, Mataji.
It's a small book. It's not even a big book. Maybe I can ask my husband.
Sure,
Just
Mataji.
give me a moment.
You can.
It's a small book. Haripal, what is that Kurma Prabhu's book? The small 50 vegetarian dish.
Mataji, is it Feast, Mataji?
Not that one. Not the feast. It's a small book. Maybe I'll post it for Mataji, and then she can post it in the group. I forgot the name actually of that book. It's a small book.
Yeah, it's fine, Mataji. You can send me a message.
I'll send you a message, then we can post it in the group.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
No problem. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, there's
Narayani
last
Mataji,
question
there's a
in
question.
chat.
Yes. We do not give cash to anyone, especially beggars, but what if some delivery boy comes, we should give as many times they don't accept prasadam, but cash we can give, they accept. Mataji, delivery people, actually, we don't need to give them any cash, right? Because you are already paying for the service, right? Let's say you get something delivered. When you get something delivered, that is accepted as a service, right? So you don't need to pay anything to them. As that whole transaction is covered by Lakshmi. If they don't accept cash, then that's fine. I mean, if they don't accept prasadam, it's fine. You don't need to give them anything. Because again, you give them cash, they can use it anywhere.
Hare Krishna. Okay, Madhuri, thank you. Got
No
your point.
problem.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
So Hare Krishna. Now we'll end the session. I just wanted to actually